counting off. That's so stupid. Here we go. We're live.
We ready right now.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to Blame Your Brother, episode 259. Wow, getting closer to 300. We are streaming the show live right now on YouTube, so make sure you come hang out with us on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, youtube.com/blameyourbrother. And if you can't do that, grab the podcast every Friday on all podcast platforms. Giving you all the ways to grab it, so go do it. Tell your friends about it. We are Blame Your Brother. I'm one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Glenn Jackson, spiritual midget, Mr. 40%, Mr. Wonderful, and this gentleman sitting over to my left, it is John.
Hey everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do a madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right, there we go. So we're going to get started. Of course, Blame Your Brother, David and John. And let's... real quick at the top of the show, last week we did Mount Rushmore of songs you should know. I think it was a great episode. I thought there were some great songs. Of course, you know, people said, hey, you missed. One of the big things on Twitter people did was no Led Zeppelin. Hey, I get it, man.
Yeah.
And if I had 8 songs, maybe 6, Led Zeppelin would have made the cut for sure. Like Stairway was one of the songs. A lot of people are like, oh, no Stairway, dude. I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like yes. I mean, I feel bad about the songs and bands I cannot get on there. I felt like I missed a whole lot. I didn't even have a punk rock song on there. I mean, so trust me, I get it. But anyway, one of our favorite listeners, I mean, everyone's our favorite listener, but one of our favorite listeners that engages with us frequently on the list we do is Chris Greger on Instagram. And he always gives us his list. And he even goes as far as he will not pick anything we've picked on his list. So he's like,
I appreciate it. So he's playing the game.
Yeah, he's playing the game like, and he's like not even getting to participate in the 1 through 4. He's got to come in like at the 9th pick, and he always makes great lists. So I just want to go over his list real quick. He said him and his wife thought it over, and here's their list of their Mount Rushmore 4 songs you should know. He had Fight for Your Right, Beastie Boys, I Feel Good, James Brown, Dazed and Confused, Led Zeppelin, and Don't Close Your Eyes by Keith Whitley. Now 3 of those 4, I'm feeling like Beastie Boys, I felt bad I couldn't include them, but I had rap covered. But, you know, I feel they did bring something different to the game. James Brown, legend. I mean, of course. Led Zeppelin, of course. I mean, you know, of course. Yeah. Keith Whitley, I mean, I'm familiar with who he is. I don't know a lot of his songs, but I've heard good things about him from fans of country music that I know. I mean,
back in the day, we had a friend named Keith.
Yes.
And your dad would pick names of country artists,
yes,
and call us by those names.
Yeah, so there was 4 of us that generally hung together. It was me, so I was David Allen Coe. There was John, who was Johnny Paycheck. Our brother Lee, who's been on the podcast, Lee Greenwood. And then Keith was Keith Whitley. Are you familiar with Keith Whitley much?
I know he did that one, and then he was married to, I want to say Lori Morgan.
Sure.
Back in the day, and they did quite a few duets.
Okay.
I think his most famous song is probably When You Say Nothing at All.
Okay. Oh, is that him? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure I've heard his songs. But anyway, but it's good. He had some country in there, rap, rock. So thank you, Chris, for that. We appreciate it. All right. Well, got a new Mount Rushmore this week. Buddy movies, buddy films. Films where basically 2 characters...
surrounded by 2 characters that they may be friends. They may just be forced into...
Yes, friendship.
Forced into friendship. They're just stuck with each other.
Right.
The inspiration for this was Hawkeye with the new show coming out and him kind of being stuck with Kate Bishop.
Right.
And
we will talk Hawkeye later as well. We're going to get into a little discussion about that Marvel series as it's streaming now. I recommend it, but we'll get further into why you should watch it, or maybe we say some things and you don't want to watch it. Who knows? But yes, the buddy film genre, I discovered like these are some of my favorite movies of all time. I ran into Trapper Haskins, just random, who friend of the show.
Running into him a lot.
At the park, playing with my kids, my wife goes, "Is that Trapper over there?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, it is." So he comes over, of course. We start talking about the podcast, and he listed, I told him what it was going to be, and he goes, "Oh, if you don't have this," he goes, "that's got to be number one." I went, "It's probably my number one, but it will definitely 100% make the list, and I'll reveal it to you later." And we talked about that for a while. So, yeah, man, just running into people on the streets all the time, but yeah. All right, so then I guess we're just going to get started. New week's here. Anything happening with you, John? Any news to reveal to the world?
Asher is fully communized.
There you go.
If you know what I'm saying. No, he got his second shot
There you go.
yesterday. Robin got her booster. So, I mean, until we can get Emily on board, but she's only 2.5, so.
Doing good. I still need to get my Nick, my 11-year-old, and I'm probably going to do that during the holiday breaks because I want to do it I want to do it like on a Friday or something, and Fridays are always so busy. So I figure they're out of school over the next couple of weeks. We'll go and get that done. But yeah, it's a good feeling. And I've learned as time has gone on, I just don't really think about COVID-19 anymore as much. Like, I mean, it's always like there in the back of your mind, but I don't know. I just feel we're at the point now where they've given us enough information about what to do, and people are either going to do it or not. And you can't like stress out about it 24/7.
It always depends on where I go.
Okay.
When I stay in Davidson County, I don't think about it much because
Okay.
everybody's kind of conscious about it.
Yeah.
But whenever I go outside of Davidson County,
Okay.
then I feel a little bit more like,
Right.
Kind of like if you go into somebody's house and it's not clean or something, you're like, I don't want to sit down.
Yeah.
or- We went to go see the Dancing Lights of Christmas,
Which one?
the one in
Lebanon?
Lebanon.
Okay, I'm going Saturday, hopefully.
I mean, the setup's pretty nice. A lot of the music is like parodies of songs, but they've turned them into Christmas songs.
Yeah.
But they have like this little, at the end of it, you can go and see Santa. They've got some inflatables you can jump on.
Santa's
and stuff
workshop
like,
is what they call it. Yeah.
And so we went in there, and I mean it's like a tent setup, so it's like outside, but it's inside.
Yeah.
But still, not a single mask and everything.
It's a rough crowd. It's a rough crowd of people. Every
Yeah.
time I've gone, and I go every year. It is the dredges of society. And I hope I don't run into anyone that just happens to listen to this podcast that would happen to be there. But
we weren't talking about you.
but no, it
the
is.
other
It
people.
is.
I mean, we saw a couple of families that were running around with no shoes on,
yeah, that
and I'm just like, come on,
no shoes.
matching pajamas, and I'm like, I mean, I kind of get the pajamas. You're in the
That's
the car the
cute.
most of the time,
Right.
but I mean, I don't.
It's rough, man. You like when you go to certain areas of Tennessee, like Murray County, you know instantly. Like I used to coach T-ball, and I live in Williamson County, so where I live at's like kind of on the line, So there's Williams County, Murray County, and I knew immediately that most of the kids I was coaching were Murray County kids. Like, and it's more of a socioeconomic thing. And I talked about this at work the other day, where we work with a lot of engineers that are educated, brought up affluent, and then we work with half of our staff that's not. And I'm in that half of the people, and you can tell there is a difference between the people, like instant. And that's kind of the same thing. It's the Santa's workshop thing. You walk in, you're like, oh, these are, and I mean, I grew up like that. So I never am like uncomfortable with it. I'm just aware of it. Like if you ask me, you going to hang out with poor people or rich people at a party? I'm going to the poor people. I mean, I've been to rich people party. I do not like them.
Yeah.
I'm going to a Christmas thing tomorrow for my wife, and it's very affluent people, and it is what it is. I'll say, I don't know, man. A lot of her people sometimes listen to the podcast. It's getting to the point, like in your life where you podcast long enough, you're like, I like to say what I want to say, but sometimes you're like, maybe I need to walk this back a little bit just in case like someone listens to it. So
I've got different areas of friends, different groups of friends that I have, and I try not to cross the streams. But I'm going to a party this weekend, and most of my friends that are at that party grew up on the more well-off side. And so, but I mean, most of that group of friends would gravitate toward each other because of like, we grew up with the same movies and we grew up with the same. And so when that's kind of your focus instead of, you know, how much money you have or what you have, it's easier. But when you go to someplace and you don't know everyone there, you definitely have that divide.
Oh, 100%. And I've said before in life, like, I would get along with my black coworkers all the time. It's just facts. I mean, people are like, no, it is. I mean, I've been to many events because of work, people I worked with, where I was like one of the only white people, like weddings, TV, like boxing events and hangouts. And they're just like, why do people wonder, like, how do you get along with these people? It's like, but we kind of grew up in the same like areas of life, you know, whereas like a lot of
beat for beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's why like it's kind of crazy in culture where people are like, you know, well, black people, white people can't get along. And what I feel they're really saying, and trust me, there are racist poor people. I'm not, of course there are. Yeah. But they sometimes actually have to live next to people of different color and different race than them because they're poor and they have no choice. Wealthy white people tend to live all together. So if they don't want to deal with anyone of a different race, they don't have to, you know. And so it's more of that shared experience of just how you grew up. And I feel like the news, society, conversation, everybody is never really familiar that a lot of it is socioeconomic more than race. And race does obviously factor into it because of that, because these people were disadvantaged because they were slaves and then they were set free with no income. So of course they're catching up. So, you know, it all makes sense, you know, but anyway, yeah. Well, back to the COVID thing. Good that you guys are vaccinated, and that's really at some point all you can do. It's got a point, like, we just are where we are. At this point, I feel it is what it is. Like, it's not the unconverted, unvaccinated people are just, they're not going to get vaccinated. And that's just, you just have to accept it and just be safe as you can.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. So Dancing Lights, good. Yeah, definitely. If you're in the Nashville area or Nashville adjacent, go check those out. I will be going Saturday, so I'm ready for that.
If you don't have your tickets, you can get them on Groupon.
Oh, okay. We used to get ours every year at the Ronald McDonald House. It was a little bit cheaper, and plus the money went to Ronald McDonald House. I love that kind of stuff. So, well, yeah, my week has been pretty uneventful, so that's good. And so let's just move on. Let's move on to the news this week. Now, I do want to real quick before I got here. I got a text on my phone, okay? All right, and it's from a number. I almost want to call these people on the Bluetooth just to see. Of course, no one would answer, but it is a number. It's an actual number, and it's a picture. I wish I could kind of show it. I mean, it's a picture of Donald Trump waving, and it says, "Stop censorship." And then it says, "The wait is over. Trump is launching his own social media." Then the text says, "Trump is making his comeback with a social media platform all his own, and we want you to join. Will you join?" And I figured, well, why not? I mean, there were a lot of people that were on, was it Parler? A lot of people I knew joined Parler just to see what it was. They did not support any of the cause, but a lot of people, journalists, friends, got on there to see what the world was about. So I said, well, let me sign up for this Trump thing. Just, I want to see what it's about, you know. So I start signing up for it. Fake name, fake phone number, fake email, pretty much. And then I get to the bottom, John's sitting here and I go, what? Wait, what is this? I have to donate money to join this stupid platform? No, I'm not. And I thought about it for a minute. I was like, all right, I'll donate $1. And John's like, if you do that, I'll tell people you donated to Trump. And I was like, yeah, I'm out, man. I can't do that. What kind of moronic nonsense is this?
For the record, I thought you already hit the button when I said that.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
should have waited. Just waited. Even before you said, I was hesitating. I wasn't like quick to like hit the button. But what kind of moronic nonsense is this? You're starting a social media that you say is free of censorship, free of this one's free, man. Like already. No, it's not. You literally, according to this text I got, you have to pay to get on this. Now, maybe further on you don't, but at this point, if you want early access, you must donate to, I don't even know what you're donating for. I'm assuming it's for his 2024 campaign, which he has not announced. Where is this money going to? Is that odd? I mean, you just sending like tweets out like, "Yo, man, donate to this cause." Like, what for? Just something, you know.
Oh, you know.
I hung out with my cousins I talked about a couple of weeks ago, and as we were leaving, my one cousin said, or basically my cousin said, see you in 2024. He was making a joke. He said, when Trump's our president. I mean, where are we at with that? Like, do you think like is there a chance? And I know, like, is there anything can happen? No, is there a good chance this man could be president once again?
I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, if you'd told me that,
like a year ago, right?
No, I mean, like.
Oh, like years ago.
Yeah. I mean, even when he announced his candidacy, I'd have been like, no way. But part of me in my soul was like, oh, no.
Right. Well,
I'm back to that because, I mean, the slightest thing that Biden does wrong, it is blown up.
Yeah.
And I'm just, at this rate, I mean, unless somebody on the left comes up as a shining knight, which in this day and age, that's what I'm saying.
No, they're going to have to run. It's going to be Biden running against him, right? I mean, short of him having
doesn't have to. He could.
Oh,
he could just
that's never happened before, though. In modern times, no president has said I'm out, and they let the vice president run when they could run. I mean, who would it be?
Carter didn't run.
No, Carter lost.
Carter didn't run that for a second term.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yes, he did.
Well, we need to look this up.
You're saying Jimmy Carter did not run in 1980? Oh, wait a second. Damn, wait a second. You're right.
I think Mondale.
Ran against Mondale. Okay, well, I guess it could happen. Well, John's got me. So you think there's a possibility Biden runs this one term and he's like, I'm out?
I think so.
Whoa. But, okay. John, I'm going to stand corrected here. You may have a point. Woo, that would be a hot take. I mean, I would imagine Kamala Harris would run if that was the case, but
but she still would have to go through the
you're right,
prelims.
Ooh, man, I just can't.
And I mean, as much as I don't see her winning an election against Trump.
Yeah, I'm saying because
I don't have faith in our country.
I can't.
I would vote for her over Trump.
I can't argue with these facts, dude. I mean, that's why I'm saying I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm disagreeing with the idea of this clown being president for another 4 years. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if we can survive it. Like, I look back to January 6th, right? Because that's the date everyone comes to.
Yeah.
January 6th. If you told me that man would ever get elected again, I would have went, there's no way. There's 0% chance. I mean, after that day, this man convinces his followers to commit essentially treason against the government. Okay? This has never been addressed, really. I mean, the left has said, hey, what's going on? The right's just like, it's no big deal. He didn't really tell these people to do it. Even though the people are like, no, he 100% told us to do it. That's why we did it. You know, that's what they all said. But okay, I don't even want to think about that. Oh God, that is scary. Let's talk about though politics. And somebody passed away this week. Mr. Bob Dole passed away. He was very old. I don't know how old he was. He's like 90 something years old. So to people like me and John, we remember Bob Dole as running against Bill Clinton. In the 96 or 92?
96.
96. Now
92 is when he beat Bush Sr.
Yes, okay.
And then he ran against
Bob Dole. Now, I'm just going to let you speak first. What are your thoughts? So this man has passed away, and obviously we have to address it. What are your thoughts on the legacy of Bob Dole? Do you know anything? I
mean, in all honesty, it's a shame, but you got to think about where we were when he was running. Yeah. I was in high school.
Yeah.
And so, Norm Macdonald.
Yep. I knew you were going to say that. That's why I let you go first.
And then also, I don't know who he had doing it, but on Conan O'Brien's show, he had the little teleprompter come down, and they had a picture of Bob Dole and just had the lips.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the guy that was doing it, like I said, I still don't know who it is to this day. He was hilarious.
I think it was
Dolly Dole.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I think of.
I know who that comedian. I can't think of his name. He's a really like wacky dude that worked on the Conan show. I know who you're talking about, but yes.
I mean, Robert Smigel comes to mind.
I think that's who it was. I think that's who it was.
Robert Smigel, for those who don't know, is the mind behind Triumph the Comic Dog.
I poop on you.
Yeah, and so
I'm pretty
think
sure
it might have been him.
Yes, if I had to bet, that's who I would say. Okay, so how old was he? He passed away.
87?
I don't know. Come on, Wikipedia. Old. His Wikipedia is like ancient, man. He was old. Whatever. Okay, so here's my thoughts on Bob Dole. Okay, did I vote for Bob Dole? Yes, I did. I'll admit it. I was a Republican. I would have voted for whoever they put up. You know, they could have put up Ronald McDonald against Clinton. You know, and I still think Clinton's a terrible human being. I don't think his presidency was that bad, but him as a man is a terrible human being. I mean, the man is tied to Jeffrey Epstein and is literally being talked about now in the Maxwell case. So that tells you enough about Clinton. But regardless, even back then, I said, of all the people you can pick to run against Clinton, who at the time was thought to be a hip, younger president. He played saxophone on the
Arsenio
Hall show. He was, the black community loved him. He was cool with kids. They loved this guy. The answer the Republicans had at the time was to put this, he had to be 70 years old.
Crotchety.
He had to be 70, right?
He was not young. There were jokes about like him and what was his name? Was it Strom Thurmond?
Yeah.
Really old. Yeah.
So let's say he was born in 23. So in 96, he would have been 70, like 6.
One of the Norm Macdonald jokes that he told when he was dressed up as Dole was he was talking about Bill Clinton. He's like, Bill Clinton said that his middle name is named after Thomas Jefferson. And I'll tell you, Bill, you are no Thomas Jefferson. I know Thomas Jefferson. And so that was kind of the...
So stupid.
Yeah.
So he was 98, apparently.
Okay.
So, he lived a pretty... Yeah, no, when he ran, he was 76.
Yeah.
That was in 96, so we know he's obviously much... I hope the math's adding up on that. But he was old, and look, his running mate, that guy was Jack Kemp was terrible. I just thought... That's when you should have known, like, the Republican Party's, like, in a world of mess right now. They were in a mess that this was the guy they were like... And so apparently he ran against Reagan to become, the nominee and didn't win. Was the running mate of Gerald Ford when Gerald Ford reran and lost. So he's one of I think he may be the only person that ever lost the vice presidency and the presidency. At basically voting for, which is not a good thing.
No.
Now you're right. I know Norm Macdonald making fun of him. I remember he had the stroke and he served in the military, and I will give him,
He always on account of the stroke, he always held a pen.
Yes.
In his right hand because he couldn't shake people's hands with it.
And look, I respect him for that. He served in the military, whatever. And I really didn't know many people had many thoughts about it. I'm sure he's celebrated by the right. But I came across an article and said, like, he was pretty much, he's one of the founders of modern day lobbyists, like lobbying overseas to Russia, to Europe and all these like bad things going on. And he was one of the like people that kind of started that in America. If that is the case and the article holds water, that is a bad legacy to have because you take Republicans or Democrats and you put a microphone in front of people and you go, what do you think of lobbyists? They'll be like, terrible. Like, the only people that like lobbyists are lobbyists and politicians because they get paid by them. But that being said, footnote in history, unfortunately for him. He wasn't president. He wasn't vice president. He was just always on the outside. And I just said, like I said, man, how out of touch were Republicans then that they thought this guy was going to beat Clinton? Like, there was no chance this guy was going to beat Clinton ever. And you got to think in 96, Clinton was having some serious allegations thrown against him that, well, some of them came to be true. Monica Lewinsky. But the knock on him was all the things with Blackwater, I believe it's called, them using their presidency for financial gain, him hooking up with all these women. All of that still couldn't derail this man. He was like, I'm good. So Bob Dole, rest in peace. Well, another rest in peace, John. If you live in the Nashville area and you drive on 65 into Nashville, you will have noticed, and it's been in the news, there is a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest that was on private property, okay? It was one of the ugliest statues, and minus the person. I'm not talking about Nathan Bedford Forrest. He's trash. We know that. I'm talking about the physical design of the statue was so comical and so terrible. If you've never seen it, I encourage you to stop this podcast right now. Just Google Nathan Bedford Forrest statue, and the face alone, you will not even believe it's legit. Like, you cannot believe this is a real statue. Anyway, this guy who owns property on the area right behind it, he bought this property. He had this statue put up. Apparently, it was made with some of the worst materials ever possible. And you could see it as you drove by the interstate. It was a big, I mean, if you lived here, you talked about it with someone at some point, you know. And the man passed away last year. And so a year later, the statue just this week, I think 2 days ago, was finally removed. It was torn down. Now, the story behind it all gets very bizarre, man. This dude was weird, because I always say this. If you are someone that leaves money to your pets when you die, red flag. Red flag. So I'm just going to go over this real quick. This is from, I think, the Tennessean, and this is like a very long article. I'll just try to hit the points of it. It says the contentious Nathan Bedford Forrest statue that's still along I-65 in Nashville for more than 2 decades came down Tuesday. The move comes over just a year after the owner of the statue died in November 2020. So a security guard initially told reporters that the statue would be hauled away. About 20 minutes later, reporters told the statue would not be moved but stored in a shed nearby. The statue fell at some point. The freaking head fell off of it. It's pretty bad. But here's what it is. So Doris is the man, had a will, and apparently he had an executor of the will. So if you pass away, obviously, people don't know. I mean, you have a will. You have to have someone execute your will for you. So here's what the original will said to do. He was going to leave his dog, who is a 12-year-old, I believe a border collie, named Lulu, $5 million to take care of the dog for the rest of its life. Now, that's a huge problem right there, right? So he wanted to leave the statue, the easement around it, to a group called the Battle of Nashville Trust, which is a Sons of Confederate Veteran group or whatever. So he left out his plans to leave a collection of tractors to a museum and $5 million for the care of a dog. The rest of the estate was willed to the Battle of Nashville Trust, but he didn't have enough cash on hand when he died. So everything he wanted to do could not be done. I don't even know if the dude had $5 million to give to his dog. Why would you write that in your will? So basically the executor has been in court trying to get all this stuff ironed out. He's had to go to court. Finally, the dog did not get $5 million for the rest of her life. It got $3,000 for the rest of its life. And I'm thinking a 12-year-old border collie. I mean, that might be enough. Yeah, it probably is more than enough, you know. And so anyways, the statue originally was going to be given to this group, blah, blah, blah. It didn't. The executor of the will just said, get it the hell out of here. It's in terrible shape. It's been vandalized multiple times. People have shot at it. People threw paint on it. And, you know, I think this is most people are happy about this removal of the statue. Once again, you want to go into the comments of any section. There are some people that are still defending Nathan Bedford Forrest this day. You know, it's the whole thing. Well, he changed on his deathbed. And I don't think it works like that. Like, that is not. I mean, you can die with that piece if that's you, but you can't commit a multitude of sins over your life and then on your deathbed just go, I'm sorry, guys. That's not how life works.
I mean, if you go by that, I mean, Hitler killed the most notorious person ever. Himself.
Right, there you go. So applaud to the Hitler. From the Blame Your Brother podcast. That would be a great headline. We're in the news tomorrow. So kudos that the statue's gone. It was just a joke. I mean, once again, look, I would never defend the statue, but at least if it was like worth a darn design-wise, this thing looked terrible, man. It is so bad. It is like one of the worst things. It would be like if you told your 5-year-old child, make me a statue right now. That's how bad it looks. It's so terrible. So farewell to the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. It bit the dust this week. Now, I do want to talk about 2 guilty charges that hit the news this week. First off, do you remember Jussie Smollett?
Yeah.
Well, he was found guilty today of lying about the hoax hate crime. That seems like that was 20 years ago.
It does feel like it was. I mean, there's been like. I mean, it was mentioned in 2 specials ago of David Chappelle's. So.
Yes. Right. That's crazy. Yeah. That's when most people probably do catch the reference. If they didn't pay attention to news, was Dave Chappelle talked about it. It was a funny bit. He goes, this guy's on Empire. He's a black gay man. He said he was walking at night and 2 white guys basically beat him up, put a noose around his neck and said they were Trump supporters. And Chappelle goes, and I knew right then that was a lie because there's no way those 2 guys would know who Jussie Smollett was from Empire. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I mean, so he was found guilty today of lying about all that. And I don't even know what his defense was. I mean, the 2 guys are blatantly just going, well, you paid us. Here's a video of us going to get the stuff that you asked us to get. Yes, we're the people that beat you up. It wasn't 2 white guys. And just like, what is the defense? And it's just coming to me in this country. Why don't people just own up for the things they did, man? Like if you do something, just own up to it. What is with this thing of people like, oh, I'm not guilty? No, dude, we know you're guilty. Like, I understand in some cases we jump to guilt a lot of the time, but like in this case, dude, you're guilty, obviously. So he was one of the people that were found guilty. And then, do you know who Josh Duggar is? He was on that show, freaking 19 Kids and Counting. It was a TLC reality show.
Oh,
he was found guilty on child pornography found on his computer. And what he's really remembered for, the TV show. But the show was suspended in 2015 after news broke that Duggar had molested 5 girls, including 4 of his sisters. So I guess karma caught up with his ass finally. So he was found guilty today.
Something else going to get caught up with it.
Yeah, hopefully they take, like I said, I'm all about restorative justice, working with these people to make people better, to get them back into society. But some people like this.
If they can't be,
I mean, you molested 5 young girls and 4 of them were your sisters, man. Like, and never was held accountable for that. And that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, I like to think sometimes the universe takes care of itself, but who knows? All right. Well, let's talk about Hawkeye for a little bit then. So Hawkeye is a television series on Disney Plus. It's part of the MCU Marvel Universe and focuses on Hawkeye, who is played by Jeremy Renner. Everybody knows that from the Avengers movie. And we've been watching it. It's 4 episodes now, right? How many are scheduled? Do you know?
6 total.
That's it.
That's it.
Man, these shows keep getting shorter and shorter, right? Because they're normally 8. Okay, so only 6. So we got 2 more episodes left. All right, so let's talk about Hawkeye. Does it work? Does it not work? What do you think about it? So it tells Hawkeye, and then he's getting a sidekick, essentially. I mean, who is a young girl whose father died during the Avengers movie. The
Raid on New York.
Yeah, the Raid on New York. And so she's dedicated her life to, training herself to do more with life. Yeah. Is it clear if she wants to be a superhero or she was just training to just be ready for life? Is it it wasn't really clear on the first episode.
To me, she just saw Hawkeye. He saved her life, and she just like, that's the guy.
Okay. So she's just looking up to him.
Yeah.
Okay. So they meet, and then hijinks ensue. All right. So John, tell me what do you think of this show so far? How are you loving it? How does it stack up to the other series that have come out? Which would include, we'll just go over real quick. You had WandaVision, you had Captain America and Winter Soldier, you had Loki. I feel like What If, and that's been it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about the series, and how does it stack up to those?
I'm enjoying it. It does have that buddy cop kind of feel to it. I think that him and Haley Steinfeld's chemistry they just really work well together.
Right.
And it's just it's fun to watch, but there are some moments that are can actually be quite touching, and so. It's not my favorite of the series, but
what are your favorites again? If you're ranking them, those 5.
Ranking them,
what's your least favorite? That's probably the easiest one. Captain America.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, is it called Falcon and Winter Soldier? Okay, whatever it's called. Okay, I would agree. That's. I enjoyed it, but it was. I thought it was a good series, but yeah, it was definitely the weakest of the bunch. So then the question becomes: is Hawkeye above the other 3 for you? It's tough, right?
It's hard because I've got. the familiarity of how much I like the other ones kind of fades a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like the most recent one I watch is the one I like more, but in my heart of hearts, I know that's not true.
That's true, yeah. But familiarity does oftentimes lead you to lend something higher, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'll give. Okay, if I'm saying what are the best 1 to 5, I have to go WandaVision number 1 without a doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, and like I said, I love What If, but I feel animated. It can't be number 2. So I would say Loki's my number 2. I would go What If number 3. I'm going this number 4, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier number 5. That would be how I would rank them. Like I say, they're all great. I mean, but it's like saying, what's my favorite Beatles album? I mean, they're all fantastic, but, there's one that's better than the rest. So what works for this for you? Is it just the chemistry? Is there, the
chemistry's up there, and then I'm starting to develop, catch like certain themes that are going on in the background, and if they did it on purpose, kudos to them.
Right.
But in my heart of hearts, when I see things that kind of link to other things, I enjoy it more.
Okay.
And obviously it's set during Christmas time, and so it's got, Lethal Weapon is shades of that all over it.
Mm-hmm.
But also I've noticed there's almost like a It's a Wonderful Life feel, which
was playing on a TV in an episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously yes.
With just different areas and not just this movie, but kind of Hawkeye's span.
Well, what I like, yes, and what I like about it is that it really humanizes and develops. I don't think Hawkeye was ever truly fully developed in the movies. That's why I'm like, I don't care about the guy. And I think what this has really done, and what it's able to do since it's a TV show and it's focusing primarily on him, is it really makes you reevaluate like his entire history as a character, where you're like, he's walking around town and people are like, thanks, man. People recognize him, obviously, right? And they're like, oh, thanks for saving the world. But he knows deep down, like in the movies, he turned into an assassin that was just killing people straight up, never even held accountable for it, really. And no one knows that was him except for him, And I think it does a really good job of hammering that point, is that this guy, to me, he's got a family, obviously, but I don't think this is a man that's afraid necessarily to die. And that's pretty obvious. Obviously superheroes deep down, they have to know they could die every time they fight, right? Like if you had a hero that was just like, no fear of death, what fun is that? That's some people's problem with Superman. Like the guy can't die. So how heroic is he? He goes and fights this guy. Well, yeah, dude, he can't die. So whoop-de-doo. Hawkeye gets into a battle. He could literally be killed at any point, But it takes that moral conundrum. If you've done something really bad, and a lot of people in life have done things, everyone has regrets, right? But usually they're not regrets of killing people, but you have regrets. You've let people down. You've hurt people with things you've said, things you've done. And I think it really humanizes it on that level, where it's like, yes, we all live with regrets regardless of what you've accomplished. You could be, a great father, a great husband, but maybe you let one friend down. You were a scumbag to him, and you let him down. Like, you'll think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could have done a better job. And I think it really does a good job of that. I will say the action scenes are great so far. And what I'll say about it, I thought the first 2 episodes, because I came in last week and I was like, I don't know about this series, man. I was like, I don't hate it, obviously, but I wasn't like excited. Episode 3, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm in. And I feel like if you only got 6 episodes, you've got to get there faster, because some people may watch that first episode, which is a long one. It's like over an hour long, and they may be like, yeah, I'm good, man. Like if Hulk's not going to be in this, if Thor's not going to be in this, and I guess it's a lot of these series, I guess, are for the hardcore MCU people, right? But they're obviously, Disney wants common casual fans to come in. I think you got to hit a stride quicker than this. There wasn't a lot of action in the first episode, but it's picked up now and it's great. I think it's really funny. It's funny. I mean, that's the thing. With all it's got that Marvel humor in it. And Haley Stanfield is really great, and she brings a breath of freshness to it. You know, anyone, if she wasn't in this show, I don't know, man. I probably would be like, I'm out of this one.
I've heard that, like, way before they even started casting, Kevin Feige, who is pretty much the godfather of Marvel movies, was looking for her.
Okay.
He name dropped her. He's like, we need to get somebody like Haley Steinfeld for this part. Yeah. And, well, he got her.
Well, it's got some great villains. It's got some great twists. It's got some great turns. Like I said, the fight scenes are great. Like you said, some of the emotional scenes are really good. And there's some big twists still coming. And, you know, I'll speak of non-spoilers, but there is a big villain that has not been revealed yet, but if you're a fan, you know who they're pointing to.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if this person is going to make an appearance in the show, or if it's just going to be kind of the unseen monster that maybe see his name on the last episode or something. I don't know, because that actor, someone would have to know he's filmed it on the show, right? I mean, episode 4 had a really big actor in it. Well, I was like, whoa, I didn't even know they were in this series. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense, as we were talking about off the microphones. But so, you know, 2 more episodes, they've got a lot of ground to make up, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how they're going to do this, but once again, I have faith in Marvel. I have not seen Eternals yet. So far, minus Thor: The Dark World, I know this is the one everybody brings up, they've done a pretty darn good job. I mean, they have not missed. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I would definitely, I mean, if you love Marvel, you're probably already watching. But if you're a casual Marvel fan, I think you might actually like this one more than WandaVision, truthfully. I mean, I think WandaVision was a lot to process if you're not a standard
And it
fan.
wasn't, WandaVision didn't start out as like a comic book show.
No.
It was more like your, you know, Outer Limits or your, Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, it was really weird. So I could see more people going, I don't know if I like this, but this is more like Falcon Winter Soldier. This is straight ahead. I feel like Loki, WandaVision is out there, right? I mean, it's crazy things happening. This is more like just a straightforward, here's a story, because I mean, Falcon Winter Soldier was also a buddy show. I mean, it's 100% what it was.
Yeah.
So are they just going weird buddy? Because maybe that's the formula they're going for. I don't know. But it seems so far that's really, What If's really weird too. So it seems at this point they're really putting out 1 or 2. So we'll see if that continues moving forward. I don't know. But I highly recommend. You recommend it? So,
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, as it goes on, we'll keep talking about it. Well, speaking of buddy films, buddy movies, it's time for us to do the Mount Rushmore of buddy movies. That's right. Movies where 2 characters, through whatever fortune of life, have to get together and make things happen. Usually hijinks ensue. Even in the action films, hijinks ensue. And that's what makes it appealing. So were you just looking for the best, your favorite, or were you looking for monumental ones, or what? Because I always, every week, I mean,
I didn't go for legendary.
Okay.
I went for, I think people in our generation, people our age would really appreciate my list.
Okay. So I go first this week, right?
Unfortunately, you did,
All right.
because
Well,
I got a feeling you're going to snag the
I don't know. I'm going to go with Trapper. This is kind of a homage to Trapper, but it's also one of the first ones I thought of, obviously. But it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think some people hate this movie because they think it's really stupid, and then some people get the humor in it. But my first pick, and it's probably not the one you're going to pick, I'm picking Dumb and Dumber.
It's up there.
I mean, the whole movie is just and usually in the buddy movies, this is what happens. Either they start off as enemies and become friends, or they start off as friends and then become enemies and then have to become friends again. And Dumb and Dumber falls into the second category, where Dumb and Dumber is Harry and Lloyd, who are just...
I mean, you can't say Harry and Lloyd nowadays without smiling.
I mean, there's 2 of the stupidest people on the planet, you know. And they basically find a briefcase full of money and decide in their wisdom, and because a hot girl was holding the briefcase essentially, that they're going to return the briefcase to the owner. And that's pretty much the short plot of it. If you love this movie, you love it. You quote it all the time.
It's highly quotable.
I was quoting Trapper mini scenes. We were both quoting scenes to each other. I mean, oh my God. It's like little, to me, the bit of it, and their friendship is great because they're truly two idiots. Those two could only be friends with one another. Like no one else is going to be friends with this guy, you know? I just think of so many scenes. I think of the dead bird. I just like when he walks out of the barn, he goes, wow, we landed on the moon. That's if you've seen it, you know what's seen it. Anyways, yes, I got to go Dumb and Dumber. I think it's probably the best comedy buddy film there is. But there's some good ones. So I say that reluctantly, but yeah, I'm going Dumb and Dumber is my number one.
It's a good pick.
All right.
It's a very good pick.
All right, John. What's your number one?
My number one is probably a movie that you like more than that one.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
don't say it.
And if you have to, I mean, if you've got free time, say you ain't got no job.
Oh, yep.
You ain't got shit to do.
Dang it. That was going to be my number two.
Watch Friday.
Oh, it was going to be my number two. I did not think you were going to pick that at all.
Well, that was my number one out the gate, man.
Oh, God.
Out of the gate.
That was going to be my number two. 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Friday.
So, I mean, you're talking about quotable. That's a quotable movie.
It's hard. It's really hard to compare those two movies. Like,
it is hard.
I will laugh at either one nonstop. Yeah. Like, if you're like, yo, you got to watch these 24 hours straight, I wouldn't mind. I mean, there's worse movies you could watch for 24 hours straight. I may have seen Friday and Dumb and Dumber like more than a lot of movies I've seen. But yes, Friday, Craig and Smokey.
Yeah.
Simple plot of this. Smokey likes to smoke weed, and he owes a lot of money to a drug dealer. And how are they going to get out of that situation with a neighborhood goon that's trying to beat him up? Once again, pretty simple concept. Same thing. They start off as friends. Some things happen. Things get resolved, hopefully. It is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
The main difference is when you're quoting lines from Friday, you could almost use some of those lines in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Dumb and Dumber, no, you're not going to say any of those things.
No, that's true. Yes, that's true. Even, I don't know. Australia. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's a good one. Okay. Anything else to add about Friday? Besides, it's just.
I mean, you just need to see them. It's so. I mean, Chris Tucker. I mean.
The best ever.
How did they find? Because I mean, I don't remember him in anything earlier than that.
I don't know. What a godsend in that movie. I mean, one of my favorite.
And
movies.
I mean, there's a chance he might show up on this list again.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. Okay, well, so I'm thinking here. Am I trying to get historical here? Or am I just going to start listing the best ones? You know what? I'm gonna go with another great comedy duo. Okay, and there's a debate about which of these two is better, but I've watched this one recently, and I think it's more quotable for people. But you put Chris Farley, David Spade in the same movie. I'm going Tommy Boy. I know you like Black Sheep a little bit better.
I like Black Sheep better,
but Fat Man in a Little Coat is Tommy Boy. So it's hard to beat that one. And David Spade, I think he's a little funnier than Tommy Boy because there's the pool scene. I don't know. I feel Chris Farley is a little bit more. I mean, he's lovable all the time. Like, there's not a movie he's not lovable in. But in Tommy Boy, I think you root for him a little bit more than in Black Sheep. You want him to succeed.
I can see that.
And Rob Lowe is the ultimate villain in this movie. I mean, he's so good. But these two had a chemistry that was just, it was unreal. I mean, if you're going chemistry, there are a few other acts out there that might surpass them. And they could have, if Chris Farley would have lived, I think they would have made probably 8 or 9 movies together.
They could have.
Just doing.
And people would have been, it would have been take my money situation.
Yes. Oh, 100%. But you got to love Fat Man in a Little Coat. You got to love them hitting the deer. I mean, there's just so many great scenes. And, you know, if you say Black Sheep, to me, it's essentially at the end of the day, it is the same movie. I mean, that's the thing about it. It's essentially the same movie. It's a fat guy who's just dummy with sarcastic thin guy and hilarity ensues.
And I mean, they're both trying to prove something in his family.
Right.
And Black Sheep, his brother's running for, and Tommy Boy is about to take over his brother.
Who is his brother?
Company.
Who is his brother in Black Sheep? It's not someone famous, is it?
No, I mean, he's one of those guys that's got that face.
I got you. But yeah, I just think Tommy Boy is so fantastic. You can just watch these guys. This is just, it's buddy film at its greatness. I mean, like, you know, they hit all the marks, and I mean, like Dumb and Dumber, they're essentially the same dude, and that works. I think in Friday and Tommy Boy, you have two
They're very distinct,
very
different,
separate
yeah.
personalities. Like, you know, like, I mean, you're almost like, in Tommy Boy, they explain how they became friends. Friday, you're just thrust in that these guys know each other, probably just from living around each other,
Yeah.
you know, but you're still like, these two are friends, but, you know, but yeah, okay. Tommy Boy, definitely number 2 for me. All right, what's your number 2, John?
My number 2, it's the holiday season, but Dave here is always preaching the fact that Thanksgiving's not getting the love.
Okay.
So I got to give some Thanksgiving love and go with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yep, definitely was on my list.
I mean, 2 of...
Is this, I mean, this is a precursor to almost David Spade and
Yeah.
and Chris Farley. I
Yeah.
mean, they're working pretty much. Who is more likable? Likable, not funny, likable. John Candy or Chris Farley?
I don't think anybody's funnier than Chris Farley.
I said likable.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, but like... I mean, there's times where you could picture Chris Farley playing a bully.
Right.
I can't see that with John Candy.
John Candy's one of the most. That's why I asked that.
He just seems like he's someone. You see somebody, you just want to walk up and give him a hug.
That was his appeal. He was one of the most lovable people. Whenever he was on screen, you loved this guy. I mean,
Yeah.
you loved him. I watched just the other day. Well, Home Alone. We watch it every year. He is so fun. He's
only in the movie for like minutes.
but he is so fun. Like, because all of that's improv. You know, like most of that's improv. And like he starts naming all these polka songs, and it's such a good scene. And I think Chris Farley is like, if you had to put up a picture of funny, it would be Chris Farley. John Candy was more subtle with his humor, but it just hit the same for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love it.
I mean,
but
John Candy had the eye rolls and the just little ticks, whereas Chris Farley was like the pratfalls. And
yes, he had it all. Yes. So, Planes, Trains, Automobiles tells the story of 2 gentlemen trying to get home for the holidays. Yeah. Big twist, obviously. And if you've never seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you. But basically, a slob gets with a very almost
neat freak,
OCD neat freak, and you know the pillow scene's fantastic. You know, it's great. It's a great movie, and and honestly, I mean, the thing that does that these others have not done, it does have emotional pull at the end.
It does.
It really hits you hard. You're like, oh my God, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've cried watching. I mean, it is very emotional at the end. So that's a good one. All right. Yeah, I definitely had that on things I want to do. All right. I'm not going to ever make the same mistake that we've almost made over the last few weeks. You made a few weeks ago, but you got to do it for the ladies, right? You got to have one for the ladies, because if you're doing a Mount Rushmore, I'm picking always 2 of the best, and then I want 2 of the rest, right? Like 2 of greats in another field. And when I think of a buddy movie that involves women, I know a lot of people would say Heat with Sandra Bullock and her, but I'm not. Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an all-time movie.
I mean, it's more OG, so yeah.
You know, it's basically a story of a battered woman trying to, you know, get out of that situation. So she finds this older woman that's going to, you know, basically take her on her wing. It's them going across the Midwest, and
I think it's the first movie I remember seeing Brad Pitt in.
I believe so. Yes, he plays basically a guy they pick up at some point. Yes, it was people definitely were aware of Brad Pitt after this movie, and it's got an iconic ending. It was really, I mean, when I look back at the time, there wasn't a lot of movies that featured 2 women together in it. I mean, there may be, I can't remember them, you know, and I
think there were more TV shows than
but as far as movies where it was this woman and this woman, I mean, it would be hard for us to name any right now. You know, like I said, there's Heat. You got ensembles like Bridesmaids, but as far as 2 women coming together, it's rare. I mean, it does happen every once in a while. There, the chicks from SNL were doing a few. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did a couple, Baby's Mom and all that. But
Sisters. But
Thelma and Louise is actually a good movie. And I mean, not to knock those, but those are dumb comedies. This is an actual, has gravitas to it, you know. And it is a nice, it looks at their relationship and they help each other grow as people. And like I said, the ending is just, it's crazy. Like, you really got to imagine it's the 90s. You're watching that movie. Things happen that don't happen in a lot of movies at the end of that one. So it's fantastic. 2 great actresses. Gina Davis, wow, what a godsend. What happened to her? I mean, she's in something now, but man, back in the day, everyone was in love with her. Like, she was it. You know, it's Gina Davis in a movie, I'm going to go see it. So, I thought Susan Sarandon's always great. So yeah, Thelma and Louise, my number 3. You're up.
My number 3, I wanted to go Western. Not something that's funny. We've done a lot of funny movies. Obviously, you broke from that with Thelma and Louise.
Right.
But there was a chemistry with these two actors. And I'm going to go with a Western, and there's an iconic one that I'm not going to choose. But I'm going to go one that's kind of like one for our generation. And that is Tombstone.
Oh, there you go.
Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell is just their dynamic together is just like, are they going to kill each other or are they going to hug?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like,
yeah. No, Tombstone's a classic, and the root of the film. I know there's a lot of shoot 'em up and it's like this, but it really is a relationship between those two guys. I mean, really, no one wants to really. I mean, I know people have written about it and said about it, but the majority of people don't think of that.
Yeah.
But it's totally the relationship. This is a guy, Doc Holliday, is like, I'm willing to die for you, man. Like, and when you meet someone like that in life, that's it. You're in. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it could be that's what I'm saying about friendship is so weird. Like, all these people,
on paper, those two should not have been friends.
No, not at all. But Doc Holliday was willing to literally die for Wyatt Earp. I mean, 100%, And essentially, did a lot of things that probably led to his demise much earlier than it should have been. So, yeah, Tombstone classic. I mean, if you don't know Tombstone, get out of here. But, okay, well, let's go to the last pick for me. I've seen List, and maybe we'll talk about it at the end, but I've got to go when I want an action movie in here, obviously, because I think it works well in action movies. But I don't think you can beat Lethal Weapon 1, man.
No.
I mean, Lethal Weapon, dude. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Murtaugh, and Riggs. I mean, get out of here, man. That first movie it's an amazing movie, number one. It is two dudes so far apart from each other, further than anyone on this list. I mean, it's a suicidal cop.
And a family man. Who's like knocking on retirement's door.
Which is funny because for a long time, I would get in friendships with people, and I was Danny Glover, and they were. I had some friends that were nuts. I would just say that, and I always looked at that movie and went, "Okay, I understand it." I mean, there's got to be one crazy one. There's got to be one that's holding down the ground for other people. And there's other movies like it too, but it's a great movie. I mean, if you've never seen Lethal Weapon, it's a Christmas movie, right? Technically a Christmas movie if you're having that debate. So, if you need to watch some Christmas movies, you can watch, I guess that's the only one on the list. But, yeah, go watch Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson, when he was not a pariah of society, he was so likable in this movie, and Danny Glover's great. I mean, just a fantastic movie. So, yeah, Lethal Weapons, that's my last one. All right, John, you to your last one, man.
You did a cop movie?
Yep. You going to do the other one?
Cop movie.
You're going to do the other one. All right.
Rush Hour. Got to go back to Chris Tucker.
I thought you were going to do another one. Rush Hour, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Oh, Rush Hour 1 is so good.
It is good.
It's good.
It's so funny. And watch the outtakes are hilarious too. Jackie Chan, I'm sorry. I mean, to anyone that could blend action and in comedy like he does.
He's the best. He is. It's not even a debate.
Yeah.
When people like the GOAT of what he brought to that genre, it's unreal. I mean, doing his own stunts and everything, but their chemistry was out of this world. I mean, they ended up making, 3 of these?
Yeah.
Probably just 2 would have worked. But they did make 3. Of course, Don't Touch a Black Man's Radio. It's a great quote in the movie. And, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good...
They give great chemistry. They're just so funny. And, I mean, the formula. They hate each other at first. And
they're like best mates, just like Lethal Weapon. So, all right. Well, that's our list. Let me go over it real quick. I had Dumb and Dumber, Tommy Boy, Thelma and Louise, Lethal Weapon. John had Friday, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Tombstone, and Rush Hour. I saw a lot of lists saying 48 Hours was their number 1 pick. And I either had to pick Lethal Weapon or 48 Hours. I like Lethal Weapon better. Of course, Eddie Murphy and freaking Nick Nolte are great in freaking 48 Hours. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not. I also had Wayne's World, Up in Smoke, Step Brothers, which I'm really kind of bummed I can't include it because it is one of my favorite movies. And, of course, I had Stir Crazy, Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Great together.
They did quite a few movies together.
Yeah. Stir Crazy is probably the best one. I mean,
I'd venture to say See No Evil, Hear No Evil was better.
it's funnier. I don't know if it's better, but yes, I love it. No, I loved watching those guys back in the day. Any other stand out that you just are upset?
I would have loved to include Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, I saw that on a bunch of lists.
I mean, we were talking earlier about. History's great. So Laurel and Hardy, Abbott Costello.
I know. I was thinking that, and I was like, I don't know. It's kind of play. I mean, if we were doing, I guess, a true Mount Rushmore, we could look at historically that one of those two should be on it. But that's not what we're doing. We're just doing our own Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So
there's plenty of. I mean, we could not even scratch the surface with the choices that you could have on there.
I mean, you could argue Fight Club is really a buddy movie in a weird way.
I almost put that on my list.
It's a good one.
But my thing was, are they buddies or are they the same person?
Well, if you don't know, at this point, if no one doesn't know the spoiler of Fight Club, it's like, come on, man, it's 2021. Everyone knows. But yeah, it's kind of like saying Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis is dead. Yeah, bro, it's like a punchline now. Everyone gets, but I guess you can be a buddy with yourself if you're a split personality disorder, right? So anyway. Well, there we go. That was our Mount Rushmore. We look forward to hearing your picks. Let us know what what we should have included. And we look forward to Chris's list. And if you want to send us your list, please do so. We'll read it on the show. And I'm sure we'll miss a bunch, because people are very passionate. But some of the best movies are buddy films. So
I mean, for me, I literally did zero research because a bunch of movies just flooded to my mind. So I guarantee there's really great ones that I missed.
Well, I had to do research just because I had too many. I was like, I need to look at pictures and see. Okay, I gotta whittle this. I can't bring in 30 to the thing, So I try to whittle it down, and it's tough because Wayne's World is one of my favorite movies. Step Brothers is definitely one of my favorite movies, but you just can't include all your favorites. So that's just the way it goes. But hit us on social media. If you're watching live, those links are down there at the bottom on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Share those lists with us. Share us any comments you had on the show. And go check out our website, bybpod.com. You can go there, shop for the holidays. You better get the shopping in. It's a wild time. Amazon's starting to maybe struggle with getting some orders out on time. So buy your Christmas presents now. Use our Amazon affiliate link on the website. And we get a kickback. All you do is go bybpod.com, click on the Amazon link, shop till you drop. So there you go. I think that's it. I don't know if I really have anything else. I think we did it, man. I think I do look forward to hearing what we missed. I kind of enjoy that every week,
Yeah.
And as Robin said on the chat, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, where you don't miss the live stream every Thursday.
And if you guys have some ideas of Mount Rushmores you want us to do, let us know. We've proven
for sure
it gets done.
There we go. So that's it. With all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? The end. That was good, man.